Hey everybody, it's Greg Funderburg. Thank you guys for joining me here on my Facebook page. You know what? We have a really cool guest tonight. Like this guy is simply amazing. He is living here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, doing some extraordinary things. Not only is he, you know, been traveling around the world, but you know what? He's a YouTuber. He's an artist. Yes, he sings. And guess what, folks? He's written a book about everything that he has endured and gone through to get to this point in his life. But more importantly, the really cool thing about Nico is he is making money and he's doing it on YouTube. He's going to talk about all of that kind of stuff tonight. And you know what? He is the true example of what it means to really, I like to say hustle hard and, make it do what it do. And so allowing the dream to pay for itself. And I'm so proud of the work that he's done. But before I bring him into the live stream tonight, he's put together a cool video to showcase exactly, what he's been doing around the world and how this travel has really impacted his life. So I'm going to play this video and then we're going to talk to Nico in 2 minutes. So check this out and then we'll talk in just a second.
Alrighty, so what is up, my Back to Life family? My name is Nikolay. Most people call me Nico, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know me as Nico TJR. I have been traveling the world for 10 months now at this point where I'm dropping this trailer. Alrighty, y'all, so traveling the world has been such an amazing experience. I started by going to Hawaii, I went to Italy, I traveled to New York, then I went to Los Angeles, then I went back to Hawaii, then I went to Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Sri Lanka, the UAE, Oman. Now I'm in India. So what Back to Life means to me is all about just going into the world and finding who your true self is. Not what somebody told you, not something you have to believe in, but it's what you find for yourself. Like, I've not known who I was my entire life because everything I had done to that point, someone had told me what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So at this point, I'm traveling the world, no plans, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm meeting new friends, and now I'm here in India, right? It's been 10 months of just hard work, shooting videos, dropping videos, editing videos, and I can't but help just tell you how amazing this experience has been just because I found something that I was passionate about. So Back to Life to me has literally made me jump out of my comfort zone and just explore the world for what it has to offer, right? I've absolutely enjoyed this entire journey. I absolutely love everyone I've come in contact with, and I can't help but just want to explore more and more and more. I just want to say thank you to every single one of you that have subscribed and that will continue to keep subscribing. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I absolutely love you, and thank you for joining the Back to Life family. This is an experience that you can only experience for yourself. This is something you have to do for you. If you want to start a journey like this, you have to take a risk. You have to jump off that cliff and just go all in. I mean, it's literally a poker game. You just have to go all in. But this has been absolutely amazing. Once again, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. My Back to Life family, I'll see you in a new vlog. Peace.
And that, my friends, that is Nico doing some amazing things. Back to life. You know what? I really appreciate, hearing his story. And you know what? You're going to get to know him tonight. And you know what? He's going to be one of your friends. This guy not only is just making an impact around the city of Chattanooga and Tennessee area, but the really cool thing about it, if you check out his Instagram page, his videos, they are getting millions of views. He is doing some extraordinary things. He's got almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. I'm just trying to catch up with him. So maybe, you know what, I can piggyback off of Nico tonight. So you know what, no further ado, let's bring into the live stream tonight. This is my friend, Nikolay Timoshchuk. How's it going, my friend?
What's going on, Greg? How we doing, brother?
You know what? It's good to be talking to you. You know what? This whole back to life thing, we're going to get into all of that tonight. But, I want to start by talking about, for people who don't know who you are, we got a chance to see a snippet of who you were, or who you are, I should say, in the video tonight. But tell me a little bit about, growing up. Where did you come from? How did your family, get to Tennessee?
First, man, I just want to say I appreciate you building me up like that. It's cool to be able to sit here and get that type of just hammering of positivity. That was super cool, man. So appreciate that. But to jump right into my story, man, so I am a child of immigrant parents. So my parents and three of my siblings actually came to the United States of America in 1989 from Ukraine, which was the Soviet Union back in that time. They moved to New York, Syracuse, New York, as refugees, and then my parents had two more kids, which was me and my sister Rosa. And so, luckily, we were born in the United States. We got citizenship without having to do anything. So that's a blessing, to say the least. Learned a huge work ethic from my parents. Coming over to a country where you don't speak the language, you don't know what's going to happen. You've had about 500 US dollars in your pocket, and you had five kids in less than 3 years after you were in America. And they were able to make it happen. And they moved to Chattanooga in 1997 or 1998. I believe I was about 3 or 4. And from then on, I've been a Chattanooga boy. I went to Hillcrest Elementary, Brown Middle School, Central High School. Then from there, I went on to play football at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Then I transferred to UTC here in Chattanooga, and then I played out my 5th year and got my master's degree in organizational management at Charleston Southern University in South Carolina. And you kind of said, you wanted to know how I just decided to become a teacher and went into all that stuff. And I was at practice one day, and I was like, what am I about to do? I don't know. And I know I'm trying to fit this whole story in this quick 30-second elevator speech, but I was talking to one of our trainers after I tore every ligament in my knee playing against Liberty University. When I was at Charleston Southern, I tore every ligament in my knee for the 2nd time. And she was like, what are you going to do when you graduate? And I was like, probably become a high school teacher. I don't know. And so I became a high school teacher at Hickson High School. Had an amazing time. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was such an awesome experience working with kids. And, you learn more about yourself than you actually teach the kids in a way, because you got to learn patience real fast. You got to learn different personalities real fast. You got to learn home life is not your home life real fast. Could be better, could be worse. And then one day I was sitting there and I called my brother and I said, I think I'm about to resign and go travel. And he was like, do you have money? And I was like, I do. I got money saved up. I built my house. So I built my house at the age of 24. So I was saving money, doing it the right way. And in January of 2019, I went. My first place was Hawaii. And I traveled the world for a year and a half and got stuck in India during the Corona outbreak. Couldn't leave. Couldn't go outside for literally 60 days straight.
Wow.
By the grace of God, I was okay. I kept it moving. I had friends over there. I was in Kerala, India, in the southern part of India, where I had friends that took care of me. They sent me food. They made sure I was okay. They checked in every couple of days, and they have their own families. They had their own businesses. They had their own employees that they were worried about. But like I said, by the grace of God, I walked out of there on a government repatriation flight because I knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody. And I got back to America in late May, and just now I'm back in Chattanooga working, doing cool things, still doing YouTube. I got my book. I got my music. I got a little bit of everything. Like you said, I'm on all social platforms.
Before we get to going overseas, let's take it back to, you were doing everything right. You're in school, you're finishing up school, you're playing football, you ran through some obstacles, and you tore some situations there with your playing football. It tears up the body. But you know what? You said, I'm going to teach. And so you found your passion in teaching, connecting with kids. And then one day you're sitting do I really want to do this? So when you were thinking about quitting your job, you've done every single thing right. Your parents immigrated here, you're here in the country, doing well, go to college, graduate, get your master's degree, graduate, and then you get a job teaching, and then you say, you know what, I'm going to quit my job. So in that conversation with your brother, I have to ask you, because, I feel like if I call my parents and say, you know what, I'm just going to quit and do something, first thing my mom and dad would say is, well, do you have money to do this? So take us, for people who are watching tonight, what was going through your mind when you're telling your brother, I'm going to quit my job?
That's a hard thing to really answer, because I was at work today and I was talking to a guy that works for the company I work for, and he was like, "What do you do? What do you like doing and all these things?" And I was like, "Man, I'm like a squirrel. Like when I see something, I'm like, oh, let me attack, let me attack." And you hit it. Like that was my passion. That was my purpose. I loved teaching. But what I realized while teaching is that teaching is my passion, but the platform wasn't necessarily where I thought I belonged. Nothing against teaching in a high school, nothing against being a teacher or anything. Um, my personality and the school system, not that they cannot coexist, especially with today, how social media is getting more easier to
Mhm.
use and schools are becoming okay with it. But when this was 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, before everybody went on quarantine, and now it's like, hey, use Zoom calls, use video calls. You have to talk to your students. Um, what I was doing was a little unorthodox, and it's like, hey, you're doing a little too much here. Maybe it's like there's lines you could cross, and you'd be like, yeah, I get it. Like I'm a teacher, maybe I shouldn't be on social media. Like I wasn't doing anything wrong or doing anything like that, but
Mhm.
still, you put your whole life on social media. You're in this career path where people want to see. I don't know. It's a very old school, traditional, like not to bash anything because I loved my time teaching. It just wasn't the right platform. And when I called my brother, I felt like it was like a weight lifted off my shoulder because yes, I didn't start getting paid for YouTube for about a year and 2 or 3 months in.
Mhm.
So I was using my savings. I was using money I made from teaching, from personal training. I mean, I've done it all, literally.
Yeah, literally.
And with that call, I was like, man, like I feel liberated. Not that I wasn't happy. It's just now I'm about to just go fly. Like it's about to just be. I feel peace. I'm gonna wake up when I want. I'm gonna go inspire when I want. I'm gonna speak when I want. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. But I know what my values are. I know what my morals are, and I'm gonna stick to those. And I'm gonna make sure that I inspire people along the way because going to where I've gone and after having that conversation and reflecting on it and then getting asked questions by you,
Mhm.
yourself, and many other people, sometimes we get in this routine of life where we even forget that we made a choice like that.
Yeah.
You know,
And I want to say this right here too. When you packed up and you decided to start traveling the world and you started here in the country, the really cool thing about what I noticed, I just assumed like you packed up like two, three, four, five suitcases. And when we were having this conversation, you said I took this backpack, and what you told me was in the backpack. I'm like, how did you do that?
you just
So
do
for
it,
people
man.
who are watching, tell us what was in the backpack.
Look, so my motto when I was traveling I'm Nike. I just do it, and I don't even wear Nike like that. But that was my
Mhm.
motto because I grabbed a BMW backpack that was literally this thick, this tall, this wide, and I had 4 or 5 shirts. I had, I believe, 2 or 3 shorts, a pair of Adidas sweatpants that I still wear to this day. My favorite pants. Um, and I took a pair of sandals, like some Birkenstocks, and then a pair of shoes that I could use for hiking, whether they were Toms or something like that. And then along the way, if the shoes got beat up, I'd go to like I went to a store in Thailand and bought some Yeezys for $30, 30 US dollars. Like,
Wow.
you see
How
what I'm
much
saying?
is that
So
in America?
well, you're paying for Yeezy. You can't even really buy Yeezys like that in America because it's so inflated and stuff. People are buying them and then reselling them, and you got to pay $400 or $500 for a pair of Yeezys that you buy in Thailand for 29 bucks or something. But that's because where this stuff is being produced. All those Southeast Asian countries are producing the products and the goods that we import into America. So long story short, small backpack, a couple pairs of shorts, a pair of pants, some t-shirts, a couple pairs of underwear, and some sandals. And man, I was on the way. I felt so free.
Speaking of free, you did a lot of traveling. So take us to what are some of the different places you went to and what did you learn along this journey?
So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start the whole journey, and I'm gonna just name off every place exactly how I did it. So in January of 2019, I went to Hawaii. I came back. I went to New York. I came back home. I went to Italy. I came back home. Went back to Hawaii. From Hawaii, I went to Indonesia with my cousin that I met for the first time in Hawaii as an adult. Um, and we were about to fly back to Hawaii, and I didn't know what I was going to do after that. We were supposed to stop in Australia for a couple days, and something hit me, and I was like, man, what if I go this way instead of back to Hawaii? He was like, as selfish as I want to be right now, to have you back in Hawaii with me, like, I can't tell you not to go that way. So after Indonesia, I went to the Philippines, Thailand, Sri Lanka. I went to the UAE, so Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Oman. Then I ended up in India after that, in Kerala, and then the southern part of India. Got back home, surprised my family for Christmas. They literally had no idea. One of my favorite videos I've ever made. From there, so 2020, February, I went to Mexico. From Mexico, I went to LA. From LA, I went back to Hawaii, came back home to Chattanooga, and then from Chattanooga, I went to India again, and then Corona, bow, it hit, and I was stuck. But with that being said, with all those places that I went to, the biggest thing I learned would be that life isn't what it always seems to be. We have a tendency to create these realities in our head out of thoughts. Literally, we will create the craziest scenarios out of thoughts that have never even happened and might not ever even happen. And when I was on the road, I had to be so in tune what was going on a daily basis, not even daily, like second to second, because what if I didn't get let through border control? What if I couldn't find a place to stay? What if I was on a train in Sri Lanka and there was no toilet and there was a hole in the floor and I needed to go to the restroom, which I did, and I had to use a hole on a moving train? Like, what do? You figure out what's right there in front of you. And that's what I learned about life from all of my travels is focus on, yes, it's good to have dreams, it's good to have goals, it's good to aspire to be these great things, but make sure that whatever you're doing while you have all of these aspirations is that you're taking care of what's actually in front of you, because a lot of people try to skip those steps, but those steps are what get you to that next level of whatever that may be for you. So that's the most important thing.
And speaking of the travels, you also vlogged video, did video on YouTube and all these different places. What made you want to share your story, not just, with people back at home in Tennessee, but you know what? You're sharing these stories with the world.
Yeah, that's a question that I've always kind of asked myself. I'm like, man, what was the real purpose of everything? And I think it all goes back to just how I've always been, even as a child. I've been in these roles I played football, so I've always been in leadership roles, and I've always tried to inspire and empower people and educate people on whatever that may be. And from that point, when I took off, I was like, man, there's some people in this world that literally will never leave their town. So I'm born on whatever street or whatever hospital in Chattanooga. I live on whatever street in Chattanooga, and I might go a 20-mile radius, but if I type in whatever YouTube channel name on Back to Life, or I'm sorry, whatever channel on YouTube, and if you type in Back to Life, you can literally go travel the entire world. I went around the entire globe, and that's what was so cool to me and what's so captivating to me is that I can literally, by the click of a button, bring the opposite side of the world, people you will never meet in your entire life, but they're going to have a face-to-face conversation with a guy named Nico that you know from Chattanooga. I thought that was the craziest thing.
The really cool thing about what you've been doing, traveling around the world and bringing what you are experiencing to life for so many people online. But the cool thing I like about this is you were on YouTube, Back to Life. How did the whole Back to Life concept come about? And then you got to tell us, how can little old Greg Funderburg make a little money on YouTube just like Nico?
So how it all started, okay, and I actually have that plaque that's right there on the screen. It's like right over there. I'll grab it and show you once we get done talking. So I was actually at the park, and I have some buddies by the name of Goon Squad. They have about 2.2 million subscribers right now, and it's their full-time career. It's what they do. That's how they live. Okay, and we were at the park, and I was about to go skydiving that day, and they're like, man, you're always on Instagram posting these stories, but that stuff disappears. Why don't you start a YouTube channel? That's what we have. And at that time, I believe they had about 39,000 subscribers. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to call it. I was like, I just like bringing people back to life. Like, I like boosting people. And he was like, that's a perfect name for it right there. Like, he's like, we've learned YouTube a little bit. Like, we know, because they were still growing at this point. They're like, that's a catchy name. Like, figure it out and just keep growing, keep posting, keep putting stuff out there, put content out. And so that day, which was July of 2018, I believe, my first video, I went skydiving. And so, I mean, that's a way to, you know, pop something off. Is I went skydiving, jumped out of an airplane, and from there, kept grinding, putting out videos. I didn't make my first penny until August of 2019. And so that was a full year of YouTube. I put out about 50 videos, I believe, or 75 videos around the world, spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars making nothing. Because people think like, oh, I'm going to just kaboom and bam and then money and famous. And no, it don't work like that. It takes a lot of sleepless nights. It takes a lot of grinding. It takes a lot of people not believing in you. It takes you trying to prove it to yourself. Not only the people that doubt you, but the people, like, you got to prove it to yourself, because you start doubting yourself once you hear it enough. So you got to push past all that. And then once you get monetized, which this is public information, but you got to have 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. And then YouTube will verify and certify that, okay, this is a monetized account. Then ads start showing up on your videos. Once you do that, for every million views, you could probably make about $2,000 to $5,000, $1,500 to about $5,000, depending where your viewers are, who's watching, things like that. So, you know, when I hit India is when I truly blew up. I went from like, wow, I was getting like 50 subscribers a day, maybe, and then I was an overnight success after a year. And from 3,000 subscribers, I went to 20,000, then 30,000, then 40,000, and 50,000. And then I get that silver YouTube plaque right there that's on the screen. I don't know if it's on this side or this side. I'm confused, but, and you know, and it keeps growing and it keeps growing. And that's a great income. You know, that's a great income stream, a great, you know, supplemental income. If you do have let's say, you know, you're working at the news station and you have a YouTube channel, that's a couple thousand extra a month. That's a trip to Florida, a trip to Hawaii, a trip out the country, or the new car that you've always wanted, or bills being paid off, or building a house, whatever the case may be. That's the whole process of how I got into it. The Goons, please go check out Goon Squad on YouTube if you get a chance. These guys are phenomenal, man. 2.2 or 2.3 million subscribers at this point. They were truly like what caused me to start a YouTube channel. I had no intention of starting a YouTube channel until one of the guys was like, bro, you got to stop posting on Instagram and start posting on YouTube. Like, Instagram disappears. That's 24 hours and it's gone. He was like, start posting on YouTube and you never know what can take off. And it took off, and I was blessed, to say the least. And it's been a godsend. It's been a blessing, and it's paid for all of my travels. That's the coolest part about it all.
You know, looking back at some of your pictures, you have like a ton of pictures that you have on social media. And when I was looking at some of the pictures, before I bring up the one picture that you specifically sent me, and you said you can pick whatever you want to pick. When you look back at this picture right here, what's going on here?
Man, I was just long hair, don't care, Nico. I was growing my hair out, my beard was coming out. I was on the road, and then I went to, it's called the Uluwatu Monkey Temple in Bali, in Indonesia. And there was they're kind of like tour guides inside of the monkey temple. I'm talking like monkeys everywhere. Wow. And like a monkey will come up to you and fight you, like, for real. No joke. And so this monkey was right there, and I was like, sir, can I touch the monkey? He was like, okay, sit. So I sat down, and he started making these noises. Like, literally, he was like, woo, woo, woo. So the monkey started coming at me, and I got nervous, and he was like, no, you sit. And so I got nervous again. Next thing I know, I got this grandpa monkey with his, can I say nuts? I already said it. I got this grandpa monkey with his nuts on my head, just twisting around. So the guy threw me a little banana, like a tiny plantain. So I gave him the little banana, and he just ate it, threw it away. And then just rubbed his nuts on my head again and just jumped off. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm so sorry, but
No, no,
that's
no. You're
exactly
good.
how
You're
it
good.
happened.
No, just be yourself. But you know what? And then I was looking at more pictures that you have online. Tell us about this photo here.
What do we got? Okay, this was in Thailand. So I was by myself in Thailand. I literally took an Uber into like
Oh, they
the
have
middle
Uber
of
in
the.
Thailand?
Yeah, there's Uber everywhere, man. Uber
Okay.
is all over the place. And I just took a random, like, took an Uber, got dropped off in the middle of the center. Then they got what they call these little, like, three-wheeler hut, uh, three-wheeler things. They call them tuk-tuks. And so a
Okay.
guy will pop up and he'd be like, "Hey, you want a tour?" And I'm like, "Give me a good price." So, you negotiate with them. You're a foreigner, you're a tourist, so they try to get the most out of you. And then this guy just drove me around for about 2 hours. I went from temple to temple to temple. There's temples everywhere made out of gold. And I mean, it's so cool culture, tradition. Like, it's actually mind blowing to see what the world has. And not to say like America has no like culture or tradition, but the way architecture is on the other side of the world, oh my gosh, like the buildings are made out of like they're not necessarily skyscrapers and glass, and
Mhm.
they're old school, hand carved, sculpted gold. I mean, you name it. Like it's unreal. Like to see that type of architecture in Southeast Asia and through those areas.
You know what? Finally, this picture right here. This is the one picture you sent me. Why was this picture so important to you?
Now, honestly, Greg, I can't hear anything you're saying. I think you're muted, but I do see the picture.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, but I'm going to explain the picture. Is that good? Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
I got
ahead.
it. I can understand body language. That's what I had to do. So can you hear me though?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was actually in Kerala, India. I was in a place called Fort Kochi. It's a small town, not a small town. It's a big town or a big city, kind of like a Nashville or an Atlanta through the southwest of India. And I had a bunch of people reaching out to me, and a photographer was like, "I want to take your pictures wearing that's a traditional clothing. It's called a mundu." And that's in Malayalam, their native tongue language. But if they're speaking Hindi, that's called a dhoti. So they were like, "Hey, we're gonna put this on you. We're gonna take pictures of you. You're gonna get chai. You're just gonna walk around, take pictures with people." And all those guys, like none of them spoke English, so I was speaking their language, which is Malayalam, as much as I possibly could, interacting with them, just trying to make sure, like just good camaraderie, meeting people, just experiencing a place for what it truly has to offer, like from locals, from just a true intentional experience from the locals in that area, because when you do that, your perception and your perspective of a place will change dramatically, and it's just an awesome experience.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you, and I'm trying to read your lips right now.
Let's see here.
I don't know what's happening, but this happens. See, it's good. We're at home. We're on live.
Check your phone.
Let's see. Check my phone. Okay. Tell us about the book. Okay, so my book, Failure Breeds Success. Can I go run and grab one real quick so I can show the cover?
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Okay, so I got the book and I got the YouTube plaque, so I'll show both of them. But my book, Failure Breeds Success, this is truly special to me. I go so in depth on this book in a way that I've never truly went with anybody personally. And that's what I tend to do. I don't like opening up too much in person. I don't know, that's just my personality. But in this book, journaling makes you feel free. So you write down everything. And during this journey, I started writing this book from my parents moving over here to the United States of America. That entire process, my entire childhood, going into college, going into teaching, leaving, going into YouTube, and all of those things. And then talking about what it feels like to become a social media sensation, for people to be wanting this and wanting that constantly, and taking pictures with people 20,000 miles away from home. And, it's seeming like the paparazzi was around you 24/7. I mean, it turned into a completely different world for me when I was over there. And it takes some time to get used to it, because you go from just wanting and really scratching and clawing and scratching and clawing, to waking up and people going, I want a picture with that guy. I want
Wow.
that guy to be in my picture. I want people to know that I've met that guy. I just want to shake their hand. I mean, I had people chasing me around India when I was in Kerala. Like, I had people waiting outside my hotels. I've had people come in when I was eating. Even here in Chattanooga, I've had people that have, like, their parents were born in Kerala, but they live here now. I've had people come find me, like, at the park when I was on a daily walk, just to tell me how they were a huge fan, because I do post a lot of my locations on my story and stuff. And I actually, posted that guy on my Instagram. Sometimes, it can get a little weird at times, but for the most part, it's a super cool experience, and it really puts things into perspective. But you have to be able to realize that it is a virtual world, and
Mhm.
people do love you and people do care about you, but you have to find that balance between, being around people that you've known for a while and you actually feel for and love for and care for,
Mhm.
and then, this virtual reality of, like, everybody loving you, and then someone saying something extremely hateful, and then you having to, like, not just go back and forth with people that are just trying to fight you for no reason when you're just trying to live out your dreams and your passions. So
That's true.
that's what this book explains. Failure Breeds Success. It can be found on Amazon, ebook or paperback, and it's truly a beautiful journey. Like, it hurt me along the way. It broke me down. It built me up. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful journey. It's like, I compare it to a rose. It's got
Mhm.
thorns. It goes through a weed process. It goes through a lot of, having to pluck off the petals and making it really beautiful. That's what happened to me, but I grew from it, and it was just an awesome experience.
Can you hear me now?
I cannot hear you, but I'm pretty good at reading your lips, but it's definitely difficult. I don't know why that just happened. I didn't mute
Oh,
you. I don't think.
let's see.
Tell us about the cover. Okay, we
Yeah.
can do this. Hey,
Okay.
look
Okay.
at us making it work. All right, so this cover right here, yeah, as you can see on the actual screen. So this is when I was just traveling the world, where I'm wearing my T-shirt, I have jeans on, and the other side is me wearing a suit and talking to that person. I wanted to really focus on these two different personas, these two different people, because it's okay to evolve in life. It's okay to change. It's okay to think that this is what you should be doing now and this is what you should be doing at this point. And people get so afraid of truly, like, being like, okay, well, I've done this for a year. Now I'm going to quit it and go do something else. See, I don't think about that as quitting. I think about that as accomplishing. Like, you might set out to be the best, whatever, author, and you write 5 books, you become an author, and then you're like, well, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm completely okay with that. Like, I accomplish things, then I move on to things that interest me again into the future. And so that's what I was trying to exemplify with this book cover, because it just shows you that no matter if you're in the business world or if you're in the leisure, just, I'm going to go travel the world, um, both are okay. Both can have conversations with one another. Both are just enjoying each other's time. Both are okay. That's what I try to help people understand. And the failure breeds success. I explain that in the book. It's all about what failure means to you, and it's about what success means to you. So if you're, intrinsically motivated, externally motivated, those things differ. For certain people, one thing might encourage them, another thing might encourage the other person, and it's okay to not be encouraged by something that somebody else is not encouraged by. If buying a new car encourages you, I clap that up. Why? Because you're going to feel good driving that car. But if going to India encourages you, that's also super cool. Like, to me, it's just all about, what does failure mean to you? What does success mean to you? And finding a way to balance those two out, because there's no way to be perfectly right or perfectly wrong. It's just life, and it happens. And you got to understand that failure does breed success, but that's all on your own terms.
You know what? Really cool book. And I was
Dang,
reading through your
Greg, I
book.
wish I
You
could
still
hear
can't
you,
hear me?
brother. Oh, this
Check
hurts
your
my
phone.
heart. I'm gonna check my phone. Tell us about your music. I like this, man. This is good. So I started dropping music on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, as Back to Life. So that's what my artist name is on all my music. So I rap, and it's all family friendly. It's all clean music, but it's just a way it's an outlet for me. Like I said, for me to express my feelings to people isn't my way of going about things, really. So I put it into music, which you see that from a lot of artists. You see that from a lot of people that write or write poems and things of that sort. And I've always, as a child, I was at Hillcrest Elementary School in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I believe when I was in like the third or the fourth or fifth grade, I won this poem contest, and it was the start of something crazy. I have raps that I wrote in first grade, second grade, third grade. Literally, I have them in a crayon box, and they make me laugh. They're on a white piece of paper, just crumpled up, that I just wrote down with terrible handwriting. But on all streaming platforms, you can find me as Back to Life. I got all the links in my bios and everything like that. It's been a journey. I dropped my first song called Somebody, featuring my good friend Johnny, who's been in music for a long time now, a couple years, and it's been a great journey. And I just released a song called I Know That I Can. That's really inspirational, that I really enjoyed making here about a week ago. So it's been a great time. I love music. I love being a creator. If I'm being completely honest, I like creating things that connect with people in a personal way. So that's something I've always enjoyed, and I love being able to use the gifts and the talents that God blessed me with to be able to inspire, empower, educate, and etc. Literally. I'm waiting. I got you. Where can you find us? Find me on social medias, and where can you find the book? So on social media, if you're looking for me on YouTube, you just type in "Back to Life," literally just back the number 2 life. On TikTok and Instagram, I'm Niko TJR. That's Niko TJR. On Instagram, I have about 150 something thousand followers. TikTok, I'm about to hit 500K. 500,000 followers on TikTok. On YouTube, I have 267,000 subscribers, I believe, somewhere in that range. And I'm just still growing. And then my book, Failure Breeds Success, you can find on Amazon. If you type that in, my name, Nikolay Timoshchuk Jr., and Failure Breeds Success, you can find the paperback right here. It's not a huge book. It's just enough to keep you engaged and tell you my story. And yeah, and I wanted to show y'all all this right here. This is my silver YouTube plaque. When you hit 100,000 subscribers, this is what they send you. And then when you hit 1 million, you get a gold one. So everybody go subscribe to Back to Life. Go type that in, subscribe for me, and so we can hit 1 million, and then we can do another interview with Greg, and I will show y'all the gold one. That would be pretty darn cool. So yeah, find me on all social media as either Back to Life or Niko TJR. That's about the simplest way I can put it.
Cool, man. I really appreciate you joining me tonight. Thank you so much. And check out him. He's doing some amazing things. And I just want to say again, keep up the good work and keep, pushing and inspiring and encouraging, so many people, not just here locally, but so many people around the world.
Greg, I wish I heard everything you said, but I'm going to say thank you, because the way you came in earlier, I heard every word and it was all positivity, man. I truly appreciate you. I wish you nothing but the best. I wish blessings upon you, man. I know it's been weird with Corona and you've been killing it at your job. So I appreciate you here in Chattanooga, man, serving the community and all that good stuff. I appreciate you. I know the community in Chattanooga appreciates you, man. And just I can't wait to run into you again and have this conversation when you do blow up, when on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, like you said you were going to. So it's on the way, man. And I appreciate you having me on. It's always an honor to be on with you, man. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Again, Niko, our guest tonight. Again, thanks so much, Niko, for joining us. And check him out on social media. Check out his brand new book, Failure Breeds Success. He's telling his story about how he grew up, coming to America, his family coming to America, and then growing up in Tennessee, and then traveling around the world, quitting his job in education, and just becoming a YouTube success. So proud of him. Again, we'll have the next Live with Greg tomorrow night right here on my Facebook page at 7 p.m. Good night, everyone.